Hello, Professor Cassandra. I am Kimberly Thorpe. I am going to share my executive summary with you. It is titled Journey to Best Fit. So I'm going to start by just sharing with you the things that I will share in this executive summary. I will share the grand challenge, the problem and impact opportunity, the innovation trend analysis, the interview insights, the design criteria, design and design fit analysis, my prototype, and the design justification. So I'm going to start with the grand challenge. So my grand challenge is promoting smart decarceration. And I'd like to do this by really focusing in on disrupting the foster care to prison pipeline. So the problem that research has shown me that leads to the foster care to prison pipeline or feeds the foster care to prison pipeline is placement workers currently placing youth in the first available placement versus the best fit placement. So when youth are placed in the first available placement, this is resulting in youth experiencing multiple placements. Statistics show 90% of youth who have experienced 5 placements or more will become incarcerated. There's also a statistic that states 1/4 of foster care alumni become involved with the police within 2 years of leaving care. So, what is the impact opportunity here? I want to use technology to assess youth and present viable housing and mentor options for them. I also would like to use the technology to empower the youth and the parents to be a part of the selection process. The selection process as it relates to where will these children be placed when it has been determined that they need out of home placement and who will provide consistent support to them. So the innovation trend, I looked at several private agencies and even agencies that are contracted with the state of Michigan. One agency that I ran across that is doing some medium level innovation is MARE. So MARE is a private agency that actually matches children who are in need of out of home placement with families who are willing to parent and provide placement for those children. And what makes it a medium level innovation is that you can actually go on the MARE website and see videotapes of the children that are in need of placement. So I think this is a really great idea, at least from the perspective of the families or the foster parents or the adoptive parents that are looking for children to be placed in their home. They get to learn quite a bit about those children because those children present a video bio on that MARE website. Then there is Matterport. Now, Matterport is not a placement agency, but it is a software company that actually provides or sells 3D virtual tours. And I like this a lot. And I put this in my innovation trend analysis because it is a great way and a great opportunity for me to look further into to see if maybe I can partner with them to provide really great virtual 3D tours of the homes that I would like for the parent and the youth to choose from when they're presented with options. So then we have the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is a third um, innovation trend. They have an actual department called the Regional Placement Unit. So in the state of Michigan, recently the Regional Placement Unit has become responsible for placing every kid that is in need of out of home placement. So they place children in foster homes and they also place youth in residential placements. They are low innovation because they do the placement without consulting with the child nor the parent. And they don't really look for the best fit placement. It appears that they just match the kid to the foster home or to the residential placement just based on the age of the kid and the specified age that the residential or the foster parents are willing to take into their home. I went as far as looking at China and Australia to see if they did anything different than we do here in the United States. And they also have their private agencies and their state level agency also has very low innovation. They just match kids based on the first available placement. And this is really a result of there not being very many resources or placement resources for the youth. So then there are the private agencies called child placing agencies, which are also low innovation um, trends because they also place the kid they only place children in the child placing agencies only place children in what you would call foster homes or pre-adoptive homes. And their innovation is low as well because they usually place according to first available. If a foster home or a pre-adoptive home takes kids that are 12 to 17 years old, and there's a kid who's 12 to 17 years old that needs placement, then they just place them there. They really don't go into any details about whether or not it's the best fit placement for that kid or whether or not that placement can actually meet the needs of that child. So when I looked at my interview and secondary literature insights, this is what I concluded, the research concluded. The moment that youth are removed from their home, their risk of being incarcerated increases. So there are ways that we can mitigate that risk, right? That increased risk can be mitigated by preventing you from experiencing multiple placements. But how do we do this? So with the application that I'm looking at, the ways that research has shown me that we can do this is that we can empower youth and parents to choose the placement, because then there isn't so much bulking about the placement and the kid not wanting to be there. And you can actually speak to the kid and the parent and say, hey, we gave you options and this is the placement that you chose. Let's try to make this work because based on the assessment that we completed, this placement is a best fit for you. Another way that we can mitigate the risk of children experiencing multiple placements is to keep the youth connected to family. The third way is having the youth choose from a list of placements that can address the youth's presenting needs. When we put children in first available placements, those placements cannot necessarily meet the presenting needs of the youth. And so the youth begins to struggle in that placement because the needs are not being met. And the fourth thing that we can do is match the youth with a supportive, committed mentor. All of the secondary research states that children will stabilize more quickly in out-of-home placements if they have a supportive adult in that placement or connected to that placement, or they have access within that placement to a committed adult that they can actually bond with. So the design criteria, my design criteria must-haves. First of all, my design is an application, and it must have a needs assessment in that application because we need to understand what does the child need in order to thrive in an out-of-home placement. What type of behaviors or issues need to be addressed in the out-of-home placement? So the needs assessment is a must-have for this application, right? For my design. And then the best fit housing option. What makes something a best fit housing option is that there is a mentor or someone available for that kid to bond with, that there's stability there, that the kid has family support, that the kid has an opportunity to be a part of the selection process of where the kid is going. That all those things make the placement a best fit. So there has to be best fit options that are offered to the youth in order for us, in order for it to meet the requirements of my design. And then there has to be the best fit mentor option that is available in order for this application to meet the criteria for my design. And then the design also requires that there is family support. So the design and the design fit analysis. So the interviews gave me a lot of information about what I needed to do in order to make sure these youth are stabilizing in placement. It talked about what the youth say they need. So the youth say that they need to be in a home-like setting. The youth are stating that they be a part of the decision-making process. The youth are saying, and the professionals are saying that these children really need to have their needs met in the out-of-home placement. And how it all comes together is that when these youth are provided with those things that I stated earlier, a person that they can bond with, stability, family support, they are given an opportunity to stabilize in that placement. And what we realize then is that we're going to realize is that the children will not need multiple placements because they'll stabilize in that placement until another placement is found for them. So I want to go over with you my Journey for Best Fit storyboard. So Journey for Best Fit. So this storyboard is obviously a bit larger in my paper, but I just wanted to start here with the pictures, and I'm just going to read the pictures just from looking at them. So what's happened here is that a child has, the police has been called because the child was left at home alone. So the worker and the police actually meet at the home where the child was left alone, and obviously the worker and the child leave together to go back to the worker's office where it's a safe place, and then they go right to the worker's computer where the application is pulled up, Journey to Best Fit is pulled up, and the worker is able to show in number 3, in screenshot 3, 3 options and give 3 virtual tours of 3 different foster homes are available because the needs assessment has identified that this kid would work best, needs would be best met in a foster home placement. So then the worker actually does a virtual tour of 3 different foster homes. And after doing that, the worker also does a virtual tour of 3 mentor bios that the kid can choose from. And then as we move along, we can see that the child actually chose one of the foster parents that she wanted to go and stay with. The worker dropped her off there, and immediately within 48 hours of her getting to that foster home, the mentor actually went to that foster home, picked her up, and took her out on an outing to begin the bonding process. So that's what I imagine for this application. So what's the design justification? So the interview support for youth and the caregiver is what, some of the things that came out of the interviews is that the caregiver and the youth must receive support in the out-of-home placement. The place youth that we need to place youth where their needs can be met. We need to choose the best fit placement for children and not the first available placement. And you should be placed in a home-like setting that provides a level of stability. And I think that the other thing that I found out from the interviews is that no one wants our youth to experience multiple placement, and youth want to be placed in the most home-like setting, right? And so the design this is what the application design will do. It will place youth where their needs will be met, will empower youth to choose the best fit placement for them, and it will match youth with the best fit mentor, and it will engage family to participate in, the out-of-home placement activities with the youth and to stay in contact with the youth so that the youth will stabilize in that placement, and then we can work towards reunifying that child with the family. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this has been great for you. This has really been great for me. Again, thanks for this opportunity. I have really enjoyed this class.